The raid on the lab had been partially successful. The perpetrators escaped but left behind fragments, digital breadcrumbs, enough for a man who knows how to read them. The stolen AI code wasn't just being transported, it was being monetized. The digital fingerprints led to numbered accounts in Switzerland, the oldest sanctuary for money that prefers not to be found. Intelligence agencies operate on information arbitrage, knowing something before someone else knows you know it. Jensen's window of advantage was closing by the hour. Istanbul had been the battlefield. Zurich would be the marketplace. In the evolving war of digital weaponry, the code stolen from the lab represented the ultimate arms deal, a skeleton key to the global financial system. Wealth doesn't announce itself in Zurich. It whispers. Behind centuries-old facades and polished marble entrances, fortunes larger than the GDP of small nations change hands with nothing more than a digital signature. The perfect playground for those who've stolen the keys to the digital kingdom. What began as code theft had evolved into something more dangerous. The operation in Istanbul had been a heist. What would happen in Zurich was a product demonstration, showing potential buyers exactly what the stolen AI could do to the world's most secure financial systems. The agency had one asset inside the Swiss National Bank, an analyst named Voss, who had been flagging suspicious patterns in blockchain transactions between certain private banks and shell companies recently established in Istanbul. Voss hadn't missed a day of work in 17 years. That afternoon, his terminal showed login activity, while his desk remained empty. The infiltration had already begun. People like Voss built lives designed to attract no attention. Gray men in gray buildings. Their power was information. The confidence of those who didn't understand how vulnerable their systems had become. The absence of sound can tell you as much as a scream. Voss had been right about the vulnerabilities. Before disappearing, he'd traced the infiltration to Heritage Bank Zurich, a private institution serving a very particular international clientele. Clients who'd recently made significant transfers from Turkish holdings. Old money has a certain smell. Leather-bound ledgers and furniture polish. The digital age hadn't changed the appearance of institutions like Heritage Bank, just made them more vulnerable to those who understand that all security is ultimately psychological. The bank's clients valued discretion above all else, which made it the ideal venue for those looking to demonstrate the devastating power of what they'd stolen from Istanbul. A controlled environment to showcase a weapon before auction. Modern banking runs on confidence, the belief that when markets open tomorrow, the numbers will match today's closing figures. The architects of the Istanbul heist were about to shatter that confidence. Weber had spent 30 years protecting his bank from traditional threats. Men with guns, embezzlement, fraud. The digital threat remained abstract to men of his generation. The demonstration began at 9:42 p.m. Central European Time. A small irregularity in the authentication protocols, then another. A digital pebble starting an avalanche. They weren't stealing money. Not yet. They were demonstrating power. Showing what happens when the code that governs financial trust is compromised. This was just a preview. A sales pitch to potential buyers. In 7 minutes, the bank's systems had been compromised, customer data accessed, and transaction records altered. A surgical strike designed to prove capability without causing permanent damage. Yet, what began in Istanbul as theft had evolved into an auction. The next move in a game with stakes measured in global stability. A digital weapon more dangerous than nuclear codes, because it could be deployed without detection until it was too late. The clock was ticking. Zurich was just the beginning.